break. Yes. Can you just give me a moment, please?
The 1999 British Open champion Fergal O'Brien with me again for this one. And Fergal, this just has a really special feel to it, doesn't it? It really does have the ingredients to be a great match.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. Really looking forward to it. As you said, the greatest of all time against the new world champion. Even the introductions seemed a little bit unusual. We get so used to Ronnie being left to last. But as there's no defending champion, Keyran is #1 seed as world champion. If there had been a defending champion as world champion, he then becomes #2 seed. Great occasion for Keyran. As you said, world champion being introduced, playing Ronnie. Of course, he'd love to win. But I do think this tournament, still early days as a world champion. Even if he was to lose, it's still a very good start to a season. Semi-final. Just has him up and running. He wouldn't be pleased with it, of course, being no consolation. But I think it just takes a little bit of pressure and other people's expectations off. Wouldn't be the first world champion to win it for the first time and then have a poor season, or certainly a poor start to the season.
So first chance to Keyran Wilson. That's a good pot to middle pocket. Ronnie O'Sullivan unable to find cover in the baulk area. But yeah, we had this conversation last night, didn't we, about Keyran Wilson and just how important it is to just have a little run in an event early on as world champion, just almost settle himself down, if you will. And after his match in the Shanghai Masters, which I actually commentated on when he lost 6-0 to Zhou Yulong, that would have been by far the start that Keyran Wilson wanted to the season as world champion, but this very much a chance to get his campaign up and running.
4.
Yeah, by his own admission, he's had a great summer. I said he found that out when he tried to put on the waistcoat, and rightly so. Plenty of opportunities.
5.
Didn't want to turn down anything. However, that was the summer. The season's up and running. Back to business.
Yeah, and if you look at the week as it's unfolded, Ronnie O'Sullivan hasn't played all that well. You know, he had a stern test in Matthew Selt yesterday, but Matthew unable to defeat Ronnie O'Sullivan. Had plenty of chances, particularly early on in that match. He missed a trick or two for me, Matt. But Keyran Wilson, I just get the feeling, won't make those mistakes. He'll want to punish Ronnie and punish him hard. He's got every chance of winning this match.
Keyran Wilson, 11.
If you're going on form this week, you might actually make Keyran a slight favourite. Ronnie's had a very serene progress. The exception of yesterday when he was tested, managed to get through that decider. Keyran a comfortable win yesterday, 5-1. But if he does lift the trophy tomorrow night, we're all going to look back at that match. He won Great clearances he had against Jimmy Robertson, 4-2 down. Showed tremendous character and bottle.
Just a moment, please, Karen.
But that's what all great champions do, isn't it? When their back is up against the wall, they always find a way. And Keyran Wilson did find a way against Jimmy Robertson from nowhere, really, because he just looked like he'd been frozen out of that match for a long period of time, and it just didn't feel like he was ever going to get through it, but he did, and he's here. Quite often when someone wins an event, there's always a moment, isn't there, throughout the week where you can look back and think, well, you know, that was the key moment.
7.
And you're right, we could definitely be looking back to that Jimmy Robertson match.
Eight.
And in that deciding frame, 57 behind, wasn't the easiest of chances. You did just get a sense it was going to be inevitable that he would clear. It's kind of the stature and reputation he has in the game. Last few years, obviously very well respected, one of the top players, but for him, like everybody
15.
else, until he went out and won a major, and the major he won, there was always going to be slight question marks, but this tournament
16.
certainly get him up and running. And again, kind of character, hungry and determined. And if he's hungry and determined with even more self-belief, he could have a phenomenal season. Nice shot there. Power and control.
23.
Just see the delayed backspin there. Yeah, he was just checking with his finger there. If he plays the pink, don't think will go on its spot. And you want to know where exactly will it go? Obviously,
24.
the same line as the other spots in the middle, but when it goes there, will the red at the bottom of the left be able to go to the right corner? That's what he was checking.
Just a moment, please.
And again, if he wasn't sure, that's why he's played for this one. Again, the referee asking for a moment just to get this right. Just directly in line, above the black there.
And Keyran Wilson, he's
Thank you, Karen.
a very
30.
proud man in all walks of life, and you know the fact that he this season will be introduced at every event as the world champion. He will really love that. He'll
31.
relish it, and you know he'll continue to work hard, and he'll continue to put the hard yards in to warrant world champion worthy performances.
Yeah, Judd Trump in his interview yesterday made a good point. You only get one career. Try and make the very most of it.
34.
Rest at the end, not in the middle.
$35.
In the earlier matches in the tournament for Ronnie, particularly the first two playing young, inexperienced opponents, but even his next two, we just wondered, could they maybe beat Ronnie? It's different today. We know for a fact Keyran can beat him. And we also know Keyran can beat him well.
They've met on 12 previous occasions, Keyran and Ronnie O'Sullivan. Ronnie narrowly leading the head-to-head 7-5. Although the last 3 meetings have been won by Keyran.
Thank you, Karen. 41.
Interestingly as well, they've played 3 best of 11s throughout their
42.
career. Each have gone the distance. Each has gone to a deciding frame, 6-5. Keyran winning 2 of them, Ronnie winning 1. So if that tells you anything, this game could go very close. As I suppose we expect. It's hard to see either player running away with this one.
49.
But it's Keyran Wilson who's made the better of the starts. And with that red
50.
and this black to follow, the first frame will go to the Warrior.
$57.
68 ahead, was obviously looking to disturb those reds and potentially make a century, but
Karen Wilson, 57.
I thought he might have played for that loose red for this very reason. If he puts that loose red, Ronnie stays in his chair. Just taking a little bit of time and energy up for Keyran that was unnecessary, but also giving Ronnie time just to settle himself. And usually before the semi-finals, new cloth is put on, so even though Ronnie's been playing this table more or less every day, brand new cloth would just change how it plays slightly. Probably meriting playing off these 2 reds together at the pink spot. Because if Ronnie did put a couple of reds, they're set for snookers behind the pink if it went back in its spot.
Ronnie happy to just continue on here. Just play a few shots, try and swing the cue ball round and get the white moving. Just give himself a better understanding of how this table is playing today. Usually that's all it takes for someone like him, just a couple of shots to really figure out and be confident over the conditions.
One.
Forced into taking the blue, because it's not ideal on black or pink.
You can see a little bit of annoyance in his face there, Ronnie. Wanted to be ideally
6.
on the black. That blue was in an ideal position to leave where it was for a snooker in behind from the last
7.
red. So Ronnie just potting a few balls here, it seems. Taking low value colours will obviously increase the amount of snookers he requires.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, when he put that last red, has he maybe just given the frame up
11.
regarding snookers and winning it, and just settle for, as you said, table time,
12.
potting balls? He did need 3 snookers, now he needs 4. Yeah, the second ready pot he could have easily played for,
19.
tried to play for pink or black.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 19.
Still a good sign to see that Ronnie did come back. Ronnie 49 points behind, but 14 is a big number, because the fact he needs 14 points worth of fouls, even if he got a free ball and red and a black, he'd still need another snooker. I always feel so long as you need possibility of a free ball, it's a better chance, but that's all going to be put to bed now anyway.
1.
Slight inconvenience at the end for Kieran Wilson. We're very pleased with the start.
Three. 5.
A good start in any match is obviously important, but when you're playing against this man, Ronnie O'Sullivan, it's particularly important. Just sends out a
8.
message. Knocked in a couple of good balls in this frame as well, Kieran. Couple shots he struck very nicely
12.
from range. And a
17.
long way to go in this match. Interval after 4, first frames to 6 for a place in the final. But it's Kieran Wilson who has taken
23,
first blood here at the
Kieran
Keyran
Wilson.
Esports Centre. The Warrior currently leading Ronnie O'Sullivan 1-0.
Second frame. Kieran Wilson to break.
Kieran Wilson's first taste of success came here in China back in 2015 at the Shanghai Masters, where he beat Judd Trump, and since then has gone on to win 6 ranking titles, including the big one in Sheffield in the spring, the World Championship, where he beat Jack Jones in the final. How he'd love to increase his tally to 7 come end of play tomorrow. He's made a good start here, 1-0. He leads Ronnie O'Sullivan. Oh, that's more like it. Brilliant pot from Ronnie from range. And that little glance off the brown may help him. He may be tempted by this to the middle pocket now. Just float the cue ball down for the reds above the black. A rather bemused look on his face as he came round for that red. He's not happy where the cue ball has come to rest. Doesn't like it.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 5.
Unusual to see Ronnie turn down a pot. Expected a double from Keyran there, but it's a bad shot, you would have to say. He got distracted from the priority, which was getting a good white, which was essential and easy. He's left this red. Must feel this red just goes. Yeah, always looked a little bit on the thin side. Felt if he was going to miss it, it would be to that jaw. We've seen it yesterday, Max Selt's shot selection. You have to be positive and aggressive against Ronnie. You don't want to take a backward step. He'll see that as weakness. However, it's a fine line. You don't want to push the boat out and take unnecessary gambles. Let the match unfold. Find out how well Ronnie is playing. Is he playing as well as you expect him? But even against Ronnie O'Sullivan, as a general, the right shot to play is the right shot to play. That doesn't change. When you get your chance, that's the time to do the damage.
Again, Keyran just showing good discipline there, not tempted by the long red nor the safety shot back to baulk, just buying himself a shot.
Electing to play the up and down safety. He was just checking the path of the red in relation to the black. Will it hit the black or go past it? Nicely played. You'd be hoping he's covered the red on the left-hand side cushion. Kyran's good safety forced Ronnie into that mistake.
Yeah, and as he was walking round to come to the table there, Keyran Wilson, you heard a little bang from Ronnie. That was the butt of his cue. He's not happy one bit with the shot he's just played, and Keyran Wilson will pick up on that. Looking for any crumb of information from your opponent. Ronnie showing a little bit of emotion there. Chance now for Keyran in the second frame.
Ronnie's not going to get it all his own way today. He's playing an opponent full of confidence, who's not intimidated by him or the occasion.
7.
I feel Ronnie's going to have to be very close to his best to win this match. And again, also the possibility it could run away from him quickly. Keyran's not going to be looking over his shoulder if he does have a bit of a lead, waiting for Ronnie to come back. He's got the mentality
14.
to power on. He's here to win the tournament himself, not be a bit part in a Ronnie O'Sullivan show.
$15.
The way the balls are spread, you have to describe this as a good opportunity.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, of course, bowing out at this stage of the event in
22.
Shanghai in the semi-finals.
$23.
Keyran will be looking to inflict as much damage as possible to this match as soon as possible. This little mini session before the interval is key. After the start he's made, he'll be fully expecting or fully wanting a lead going into that 15-minute break.
30. $31.
Plenty of reds available for Keyran here.
38.
The couple beneath the pink that pass to this right corner.
$39.
We've been waiting
46.
all week for Ronnie to click into top gear. The danger today is he might get an opportunity.
47.
Keyran looking very focused, very determined, and more importantly, very comfortable. Ronnie might beat Keyran, but He won't be able to bully him,
52.
dictate the game.
If anything, I think it will be Keyran that is going to dictate this one. From what we've seen so far, all departments of his game look pretty sharp. Which, of course, they have to be when you're playing someone like
53.
Ronnie. But Keyran, of course, very experienced. He's not playing the player. He's playing the game. If he keeps Ronnie in his seat, there's nothing he can do.
$58.
So came up the wrong side of the blue, which means this red now has to be potted from further away than he would have liked. And again,
59.
negotiated it very nicely. Well, an anxious look.
66.
Can Keyran get through to pot this red to left corner? It looked like that the red just rested up onto the cue ball. He's obviously fine. Yeah, no problems.
67. $73. 74. Karen Wilson, 74.
Well, a break of 74. Ronnie O'Sullivan stays in his seat and nods his head. It's been the perfect start to proceedings so far for Keyran Wilson, the world champion. 2-0 to the good. £177,000 is the top prize on offer
好了，谢谢。
here at the
Third frame, Ronnie
Xi'an
O'Sullivan
Grand
to
Prix.
break.
Kieran Wilson edging closer to that title match tomorrow. But first, he has to overcome Ronnie O'Sullivan, but he's made the better of the starts, 2-0. Nice break of 74 in the previous frame. Other than that World Championship that Kieran lifted, it was a pretty modest season, wasn't it? He didn't really do too much up until that point. It kind of saved his season, really. Hoping for a much better start this year.
Yeah, he wouldn't have planned on having a bad season. But as it unfolded, the season, after Christmas, he had a couple of runs, business-ended tournaments, just playing his way into a little bit of form. I think playing the Championship League as well, got a lot of matches. So he was fairly sharp. But still, obviously, had a lot in the tank, and it was very noticeable from the very first shot at the Crucible against Dominic Dale, how focused he was.
请观众将手机
And was able
调
to
成
maintain
静
that
音。
focus and application for the 17 days.
So Ronnie playing the thicker safety shot, purposefully opening the pack of reds. One went close to left corner, but clearly Kieran can't get through to it. Otherwise he'd have been down playing it by now. No obvious paths back to baulk either.
Both players would have a preference for the black being free. Played that well. Found the gap and also played it side to bring it back over to that side of the table. Trying to put it in behind the yellow, but excellent safety. Shot from Ronnie. It's opened the black into play, but more importantly, he left the white on the baulk line. Couple of options. None of them are easy. The fact that he's 2-0 up, we would actually expect him to pot the red. If he can pot it and get on the colour, it's a great chance. But he'll also know if he misses this red, it becomes a great chance for his opponent. That adds to the pressure.
Yeah, fully committed to it. Played it knowing that he was going to be leaving balls for Ronnie had it not gone in. So Ronnie O'Sullivan now with his first real scoring opportunity in this match, already 2-0 down.
手机调成静音，谢谢。
Has to make this chance count.
1.
And needs a bit of luck, that's no good. It's a very poor positional shot, that, from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yeah, when he comes to the table, straight away, always try and solve the puzzle. What's the problem areas? Yeah, it was to his advantage if you could take the blue out, but could have easily won the frame without going anywhere near the blue. Just a risk he didn't have to take. Because it was a difficult pot, he had to make this full priority. Needs to be careful with this as well. Then clip back. Tendency always to catch it too thick.
Seven.
Willing that green to be able to pass the brown. It's obviously tight. Able to get through to the yellow. It was a lot more easier.
9.
The first 4 shots of this break have been far from easy for Ronnie. He's looking for another good positional shot here. Yeah, that's nicely played. Played into an area there, knowing the pink goes to left middle. Had he have missed the red, it'd have been on black to left corner. So now finds himself in prime position finally.
16. Seventeen.
Both of them heavy scorers, excellent break builders. Because I think the match will be won or lost from distance. Who's going to play the better safety? Who's going to reduce
24.
possibility of long pots for their opponent?
25.
And also, will they be able to pot a high percentage of long pots there left themselves? Because we've seen already, you have to assume if you leave your opponent in, he's going to win the frame from it. Getting the first
32.
chance in each frame is going to be crucial.
33.
He's played a couple of shots already early on in this match, Ronnie, that he's lost the cue ball. You can see just his little subtle facial expressions. He's not been all that pleased with how things have gone
40.
so far today, not necessarily because of what his opponent's doing, but because of what he's done when he's come to the table. Chance
41.
to rectify things here. Brilliant scoring chance. One which you would fully expect him to make the most of. Again, just gets this frame on the board.
48.
Possibly settles down more. It really could be game on.
49.
You know, it's easy to think that a player like Ronnie O'Sullivan is invincible. He doesn't feel any nerves. Those that haven't seen his documentary,
54.
I would advise checking that out, because it gives you an idea of the emotions that even he goes through in the build-up to these big
55.
occasion matches. He still feels the nerves, he still feels the tension, bit of stage fright at times, but boy does he do a good job of hiding it.
$62.
Yeah, as a player, it was encouraging actually to see that he feels the same way.
63.
Can also think the same nonsense we think at times as well. Everybody gets nervous. Just
70.
top players are able to deal with those nerves better than others.
71.
It's about being comfortable when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it was a chance that Keyran Wilson knew he was going to be leaving for Ronnie, missing that red from
78.
range. And So often he
Ronnie
produces the
O'Sullivan,
goods, Ronnie O'Sullivan. When you leave him a chance like that, you have to expect the worst. And that break of 78 from Ronnie O'Sullivan keeps his hopes alive and closes the gap. He trails 2-1.
Frame 4.
2-1
Karen
the
Wilson to
scoreline
break.
here. World champion Keyran Wilson leading Ronnie O'Sullivan. The final frame before the interval. And it's a big one. Can Keyran Wilson extend his advantage and have a healthy lead? Or can Ronnie level things up from 2-0 down?
Straight away from the break off. That red beside the black, if it's not removed, can dictate the frame, style of play. Karen could have played off that red beside the black. Not prepared to give the initiative away. Ronnie obviously would have had the first chance to play a good safety and put the white down the baulk end. That red in baulk might influence the decision, and it has. But it wasn't worth the risk to try and go down to baulk, so this will open the frame up. Ronnie O'Sullivan, obviously one of the quickest players on tour, one of the quickest players ever. It's amazing, no matter who he plays, it doesn't seem to get drawn into frames. A frame over 20 minutes seems like a long drawn out affair. Regardless of the style or speed of his opponent, seems like he's able to dictate the game, dictate the balls, play the game the way he wants.
Of course, you was partial to a quick frame or two, wasn't you, Fergus?
I walked myself into that one. 20 minutes was a quick frame.
Okay. Ronnie O'Sullivan just looking at the two reds. Maybe close to the yellow pocket, just needs to be careful. He doesn't leave the red over the pocket, which he has done. Now, has he covered it? Spent a while looking at that shot, Ronnie O'Sullivan. They always looked like they were going to go close to that corner pocket, and The fact that he didn't get the cue ball in behind the black was an error.
One.
Yeah, and keyran able to just pot that in such a way that he could get the cue ball out of the baulk area. That was a good shot from Keyran Wilson. The red, of course, not the issue. It was the contact to it which influenced where the cue ball was going to finish, and he couldn't have put it any better with his hand.
6. Seven.
So far in this match, we've seen whoever wins the control game goes on to win the frame. That's certainly a bonus, that red at the bottom of the pack going. Plus he's put the white in a great position.
14.
This will bring more reds into play.
$15.
Didn't quite judge the pace of the white. Just see it here again. Got quite a thick contact on that end red. We just took the pace out of the white. And on the side cushion. Difficult blue now. Cued it very well.
Yeah, nice pot from Keyran. They're never easy, them, particularly when you know you're going into
20.
balls as well. Deserved a good cannon, and he got one.
$21.
Just able to tidy up this area of the table now. Try and remove these two reds. Get him back down, get himself back down to the heavy scoring area of the table.
23. $24.
It was noticeable in winning that World Championship that Keyran was just playing that little bit quicker, greater rhythm. And he felt it wasn't so much a decision to play quicker, it was a decision to be more decisive. Just trust his
29.
instincts when he came to the table.
And as you well know,
30.
Fergal, quite often as a snooker player, when you've played for so long, usually the first shot you see tends to be the correct one, and sometimes when you go into your shell as a player, it's very easy to look for problems, almost over-analyse things, and almost get in the way of yourself. Keyran, as you say, much more fluent in Sheffield, and it definitely helped
34.
him.
$35.
Yeah, I used to be indecisive. Now I'm not so sure.
Stop it.
Yeah, can get bogged down trying to
42.
look for what you think is the correct shot. But it's more important to be decisive than correct.
43.
It just allows Keyran to play at the same pace and rhythm like you would in practice, which is the key. And if he didn't know beforehand, Ronnie, he certainly knows now. He's going to have to
50.
be at his very best, all departments. We talk about when you play Ronnie Sullivan, that attention to detail and small margins are crucial. That's going to apply for him today against this opponent in this form.
51.
As mentioned earlier, there's not just a risk of losing, but there's a risk of losing quite quickly.
We've spoken about both players' paths to this stage of the event.
58.
Keyran has had a much more difficult route to the semi-finals, and a couple of matches that he's had to dig really deep and play very hard match snooker to come through. That's almost set him up
59.
nicely for this one. Ronnie O'Sullivan, bar his match yesterday against Matthew Selt, which of course he came through in the end. He was not tested all week. And we always allude to the fact that best players are very good at turning it on. Almost as easy as flicking a switch, but sometimes that's not the case. It's not as easy as that. I just think Keyran Wilson is
64.
definitely the sharper of the two.
And just when it looked like it's nearly going to be a formality to go on and win the frame. See there, 64 ahead, 67 left. Just got the referee just to have a look as well, because it's obviously difficult. There's a possibility she might have to replace the white. Just nestled
Keyran
off.
Wilson, 64.
Looks like he has the cover on the black from that red to the corner. However, Ronnie's able to play a good safety shot. He's going to open the reds and get a good white guaranteed. And all of a sudden that 64 lead doesn't look as big as it did a couple of minutes ago. Out of nowhere, plays one left-handed. I'm not sure if he did go for the pot, and I say that because he played up for ball colour, so if he puts the brown, he could then only tie with black, so unusual choice for a couple of different reasons.
Well, the misread from Keyran. I suppose the consolation, he's pushed the brown safer. Did promote one of the safer reds, though. Oh, but Ronnie a mile away from that one. I live nearer than that.
Yeah, he's quite fortunate, but you can just tell he's not at his very best today. And that only becomes an issue because he's going to have to be. You just don't see Keyran coming back to him. Keyran's standards dropping. He's going to have to play better, Ronnie. Play a better caliber snooker.
Yeah, he's just mistimed a few so far this morning, Ronnie. Certainly not been there. This interval probably coming at a good time for him.
But I read the fact that he's starting to play a few shots for no apparent reason with his left hand. It's a sign he's not overly comfortable. He's trying to look for something. We did talk at the start of this tournament that he was going to play more shots, not just this tournament, but this season left-handed. In his words, it makes him happy. As good as he is left-handed, he's still better when he plays right-handed.
And this game all about touch and feel out there in the arena. the conditions usually so good that, you know, if you're not quite with it or not quite striking the ball as you wish to or as you want to, it can make you look silly at times. And as I say, for someone like Ronnie, it's all about feeling. If he feels that something isn't quite right with his game, he'll search for anything out there in the arena. If playing left-handed just frees him up a touch, then he'll do it. Again, you can see for no reason at all getting down and playing this one left-handed. There really is only one Ronnie O'Sullivan, isn't there?
Talent does what it can. Genius does what it must. Keyran just coming down just to get a better picture of the situation. That's an excellent pot.
1.
Just totally trusted himself. And more importantly, trusted his cue action. Usual choice there.
1.
I don't know why he didn't just roll up behind the green. 65 head. I think if he rolls it behind the green, Ronnie concedes. You have the frame won. You don't have to still prove you're being aggressive. Obviously feels very good though, to be fair.
Yeah, Keyran has certainly picked up on Ronnie O'Sullivan this morning, and he's almost in a way got to battle himself just to forget what's happening with Ronnie, just focus on his own game, play the correct shots.
Looks like Keyran will take this 3-1 lead. It makes it very interesting. After the interval, first couple of frames very important. But be interested to see just the whole dynamics of the match. Keyran being on top, Ronnie struggling a little piece. How he tries to go about getting back into this match. to just have the option, if you fancy it, I'll start playing left-handed. It's ridiculous, really.
So we won't see Keyran Wilson doing anything daft here, just containing it every time he comes to the table. It's up to Ronnie O'Sullivan to try and open things up once again.
Very good pot at pace to get out for the black. So when he came to the table, 65 behind, so he'd be looking to get 3 reds, 3 blacks ideally. And from there then go about getting a snooker. In fact, the black will be on its spot. It certainly helps.
Where the green is a massive problem for Ronnie O'Sullivan, because those 2 reds by that corner
8.
can't really get on the black from them without potting the green, so
9.
happy to wait.
16.
Looking to get the cue ball over
Ronnie
somewhere behind the
O'Sullivan,
yellow.
16.
Like the lash, only has a slight possibility to get a little nudge on the brown. If you wanted. And a poor shot to leave this red back into that corner.
One.
Yeah, just have to settle for the red and the green. But again, a good sign where Ronnie is mentally, that he's prepared to be
4.
patient. Good application here. So he's going to need 3 snookers,
Yep.
or ideally a snooker and then a free ball. Just look, glance at the scoreboard.
Yeah, because in years gone by, we have seen Ronnie O'Sullivan just throw the towel in frames where he only needs 1 snooker. So the fact that he is battling on here is a good sign.
Yeah, poor shot from Ronnie there. He needed white to be over the other side of the table. The possibility of snookers.
And the good shot from Keyran has presented a good opportunity to put this frame to bed. And in goes the red, so that will be it. Ronnie O'Sullivan will have to come from a 3-1 deficit if he's going to turn this match around. But it's Keyran Wilson with that early break of 64 that did the initial bulk of the damage in this frame to go along with breaks of 57 and 74 in this mini session. The world champion off to a flying start here in Xi'an, leading Ronnie O'Sullivan 3-1. world champion Keyran Wilson in the driving seat here in this, the first semi-final of the Xi'an Grand Prix. The first ever World Snooker ranking tournament in this region. Keyran Wilson looking for yet another ranking final. His first as the world champion. Ronnie O'Sullivan with it all to do.
Frame 5, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Of course, a 3-1 deficit for Ronnie O'Sullivan is well within his capabilities to overturn, of course, but from what he's shown us so far this morning, doesn't necessarily give us any sign as to where that form may come from. You feel he may have to produce one of those special, outrageous performances that he often does.
Yeah, you can see from that camera angle the difficulties Keyran faced with. Of the 4 frames played, it's been Keyran that's got the first chance in 3 of them. That's more or less resulted in this 3-1 scoreline. Again, Ronnie continuing his policy, playing as many shots as he can left-handed. Be interesting to see if that continues. The match gets closer towards the end of it.
It would have been interesting to see Ronnie O'Sullivan's interval, what he did during those 15 minutes. I can imagine he probably hit the practice table, just hit a few balls. Just single ball shots, just trying to find a bit of timing, find a bit of a strike again, because it hasn't quite been there so far for this match.
Elected to play that safety and tighten the ball cushion left-handed. It was noticeable on his previous shot, difficult long pot. He played that with his right hand. We're just adding to the sense that he's not quite at peace with himself and at ease with his game. An excellent pot.
1.
Could have decided to play a safety shot off that red. That's just another sign of his growing confidence. Again, he's won that little control game at the start of the frame. Just seems to have great confidence in his cue action. Prepared to back himself. On the must-make crucial shots.
Prize money more than doubles for the winner of this match, with a chance at the title game.
Four.
From what we've seen across the World Snooker social media pages over the past few days, the players have all been very happy with where they've played this week. The conditions, the venue itself, the place, of course, a lot of history. It's a great time to be a professional snooker player, travelling around the world, playing in these big tournaments, seeing new places, but ultimately it all comes down to this. The players are here to win the event. Keyran Wilson is starting to rally towards that winning line. All departments are good.
As mentioned earlier, Keyran,
16.
and rightly so, fully enjoyed the summer. But now that we're back playing snooker, rather than rest on his laurels,
17.
if you can use that world title as a platform for success, it could be very, very dangerous for years to come. And of course, I'm sure another ambition of his is to be world number one. And would probably take a season or two, but by winning the World Championships, getting $500,000 gives him that opportunity if he continued on.
23.
And he'll probably sense as well that not just this week is a great opportunity for him, but the calendar of upcoming events.
24.
You know, now's a good time to start playing well, basically. Huge event next week in Saudi Arabia coming up. English Open, British Open. You know, if you get on a good run now, with the confidence and momentum going forward, Keyran Wilson could do some severe damage to the rankings. Anyone could.
Because it was nearly kind of a thought that if you won the World Championship, you'd so many points, more or less going to
30.
be, if not number one, very close. Now, if you also add in early on in the season, somebody is going to win $500,000 there as well. Could have a great impact on the rankings. If you won the World Championships and the tournament in Saudi,
31.
you could literally take the rest of the year off and enjoy your number one status. Balls haven't been ideal. Just be patient. Again, he feels just another shot or two away from being an ideal position.
$35.
Excellent player with the rest, Keyran. And he'll need to be this tricky enough pot and an important one.
And it made the difference. He was
Keyran
further
Wilson,
away from that
35.
red than he would have liked. It was a big pot because had it had gone in, he was back perfect on the blue to continue the break. So an early glimmer of hope for Ronnie. Keyran breaking down, although he's not left anything. There was a bit of banter flying around on social media the other day, wasn't there, between Keyran Wilson and Sean Murphy. Both players claim to be the best rest player, trying to set up a 6 reds match with only using the rest for every shot.
difficult putt. Backed himself to get it. He's missed it. That's given Ronnie this opportunity. Certainly plenty of open reds to start with before he gets down to the black and those other reds. An important visit. Just trying to establish himself back in the frame, back in the match.
Seven. 8. Fourteen. 15.
You feel you just want to fast forward a couple of minutes till he's got rid of these reds and see how he goes about the challenge of getting those 4 reds into play.
Got the chance in a couple of shots' time to leave himself an angle off the blue if he wishes, to just
19.
stun down past the pink. Could even play on the pink. A couple of options.
20.
A little cannon just right of the black. Probably would be okay to flick off that red. He's just having a little look at it now. If he flicked off the red next to the black, he may land on either of the two with a little cannon. So he's gone too far on this red.
25.
Play for the blue. Now, how will he go about this?
26. Thirty-two.
Now you see that red doesn't pass. Didn't land nice on the pink there. Had to try and manufacture an angle out of it. Playing with top and left-hand side on the cue ball. End of break, but this frame's still very much live.
32.
These 4 reds.
Should have made a better job of controlling the red as it came off the cushion. It's leaked over to the right-hand side. In the end, you would expect keyran to pot this and probably get on a colour.
One.
A good pot.
Yeah, he's on this pink to left middle. The red drifting up the table as well helps. He's pushed them all into play as well, so a couple of important shots coming up for Keyran Wilson.
Last red he played, he knew full well the way he played it, he was going into the reds. But rather than being fearful of disturbing them,
7.
backed himself to get the pot and then open the reds
8.
for himself. It's worked out very well.
That for me is one of Keyran's biggest attributes, the fact that he does back himself. He has so much self-belief. And okay, it doesn't always go to plan, but the fact he's committed to the shot that he's taking on, that in itself is a positive.
14. 15.
Yeah, it's far easier to have that self-belief when you have that ramrod straight cue action that he has. Seems very little can go wrong with it.
something which he's worked very hard on over the years. He had to dissect his game and take it apart and rebuild.
21.
Hasn't always played the game this way, Keyran Wilson, but boy, he'll be glad he made those changes.
22.
It was when he was relegated from the professional circuit the first time he went away and had a good hard look at himself. Put a lot of work in with his coach Barry Stark, and it's all amounted to these moments that he's experiencing these last
29.
few seasons. Deserves everything he gets from the game, Keyran Wilson. Very hard worker, lovely lad, family man. And he's made a very good start today.
31.
Well, not to be on the green,
Keyran
but
Wilson, 31. Frame conceded.
more than far enough in this frame. So Ronnie O'Sullivan nods his head and he looks on in a little bit of disbelief. He's not been there so far today, but that won't bother Keyran Wilson. 4-1. First to 6 for a place in the final tomorrow. Judd Trump and Daniel Wells, semi-final to come, but Keyran Wilson out on table 1 taking on Ronnie O'Sullivan, well and truly in the box seat. He's gone through 5 tough matches already this week, Keyran Wilson. 5-2 winner over Haris Tahir, 5-2 over He Guochang, 5-3 win against Ricky Walden. Came through a decider against Jimmy Robertson and then more convincingly beat Zhu Si yesterday. But that is a wonderful pot from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Something we've not said much of so far today. Could not have struck that any better. Brilliant cueing.
That wasn't such good cueing.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
Yeah, that dropping the head wasn't even so much that he missed the brown. It's the fear of what's going to come after it. Again, it's very early in the frame and he couldn't take it for granted, but it'll be the biggest surprise if Keyran wins the frame from here.
One.
You just get a sense nearly already. Ronnie's just going to run out of time despite his best efforts. Just don't get a sense at all that Keyran's going to come back to him.
Eight. 9.
Kyran's ambitions have gone on to be not just #1, but the best player in the world.
16.
If you could beat Ronnie O'Sullivan in the semi-final and potentially Judd Trump in the final, it's a hell of a statement to make for what may come in future years.
17.
Of course, there's no guarantee Judd will definitely be there. Of course, he's got a match tonight against Daniel Wells.
And they've played in a number of big matches, Keyran Wilson and Ronnie O'Sullivan. The majority of those big
24.
matches have been won by Ronnie. So this would feel like
25.
a big result for the world champion. Left himself purposely low on that red, knowing that he could just run the cue ball through, push more reds into play and stay on the black. Maybe tempted by one more cannon here from the black. Possibly just in between the two reds. That's surely the perfect cannon.
Another reason why Keyran,
32.
the World Championships and here today, is playing those few seconds quicker. It's because his cue ball control is much improved last few years. So as a result, you can literally just fall from shot to shot. Doesn't have to take time out for thinking. Makes the game so much easier. And at the very highest level,
33.
if his cue ball control was a weakness, it isn't anymore. You would have heard the comments and the criticism, but used as a positive, went away, just worked harder.
$35. $36.
Just fractionally short of pace, I think. Is he bridging over this
43.
red? Yeah, I think so. Judging by that little nod of the head. Yeah. That's why there was that little nod of the head, because it just made it
43.
missable, and he did miss it.
He was a few mil away from being able to get to the middle of the white there, Keyran Wilson. These fine margins at top level sport. Again, didn't do any damage because he left nothing for Ronnie O'Sullivan. So it hasn't cost him. If anything, just stopped him in his tracks in this frame. You can see no options of hitting reds by the pink to get back to baulk, so just containing the situation, resting up to the red. Yeah, and that was never in.
1.
Yeah, that little glance on the yellow, as you can see there, just prevents him from being able to pot the brown. Unless is he shaping up to play a little swerve?
Brown ball.
Again, nicely played, but always hard to judge the pace.
5.
And he's obviously feeling very good about himself in this game.
Yeah, he smells blood, doesn't he, Keyran Wilson? You can see how confident he is from that shot selection. Wants to continue
6.
on here, keep attacking, keep Ronnie bang under it. Because the longer he's at the table, the more unlikely it is that Ronnie's going to find something. And even if he does, he may be too far behind in this match.
11. $12.
Keyran doing to Ronnie what Ronnie's done to plenty of players over the years. Just dominating the table, dominating proceedings. It's a compliment to Keyran from a lot of this match. You've actually forgotten that Ronnie O'Sullivan is playing.
19.
He's been so dominant.
Played nearly 100 professional matches last season, Keyran Wilson, throughout his campaign. That is an awful lot of snooker. Deserved a summer break. Didn't start the campaign as well as he would have liked. Didn't get through
27.
Championship League. Lost early, heavily in the Shanghai Masters. But you can
28.
sense that he's been working hard, Keyran Wilson, in recent weeks. And these are the fruits of that.
33.
And maybe that tougher
34.
draw, the tournament just has him a little bit more battle hardened, a little more sharper than Ronnie is, particularly at the start of the season.
41.
It's really the crowd enjoy that bit of Ronnie's side there. It's been a great performance from Keyran, you'd have to
42.
say. He's looked every inch a world champion.
And all that man can do is watch on as with each ball that disappears, Keyran Wilson edging closer to a ranking final here in Xi'an.
49.
Bidding to become the first ever champion of this event.
50.
Keyran Wilson's goals and targets for this season: win as much silverware as possible, assert yourself right at the top of the rankings amongst the best players in the world.
54.
And what a feather in his cap
56.
this will be, beating O'Sullivan in a part of the world where he's so comfortable playing, where so many others have failed.
59.
Keyran Wilson really taking it to O'Sullivan today. This has been a brilliant performance so far.
63. 68. 74.
So that break of 74 from the world champion Keyran Wilson. He's ploughing towards the winning line here in Xi'an. He's leading Ronnie O'Sullivan 5 frames to 1. 1 frame required for a place in tomorrow's final.
你好，观众，咱们那个带塑料袋的饮料最好拿出来，因为如果你喝的话，这边塑料袋会影响球员，咱们就一会儿把它拿出来，因为上上下下会影响哈，谢谢。好了，谢谢 Frame 7 Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Xi'an, of course, home to the world-famous terracotta burial site. Our very own warrior, Keyran Wilson, looking to bury his opponent here in this match. One frame required for him to book a place in the final.
Left running. Reds to both corner pockets. Sorry, Ronnie is left. Reds to both pocket. Design it up. Yeah, you can hear the applause from the crowd, just trying to give Ronnie some encouragement. But the ball's been open. We'll give him all the encouragement he needs.
Had no real control there, Keyran, over where the red was going to finish had he missed it, and it was a pretty disastrous result. Although so far behind in this match, Ronnie O'Sullivan, of course, we've got no doubt he's able to produce something special. We see it so many times down the years, but feels like a very tall order, this, for Ronnie. Even a chance like this, I suppose, sat in your seat, you almost don't want the chance to come along. You're so far behind, you've kind of resigned yourself to the fact that you're out. You're almost scared to come to the table when the balls are like this, with the thought that you may not be able to take the chance. Can Ronnie?
Six, 7.
Seen from an earlier camera shot, I think the black just about goes to the right corner. And if it does, Ronnie, as soon as he can, will be on it. That shot just sums up the day he's had.
10.
good recovery. To be a level of frustration in playing that shot. Slots in nicely. He landed behind the blue again.
13. $14.
You can see from Ronnie's facial expressions as he's walking around the table, this game usually comes so very easy to him. It's all very much a struggle
19.
today. You can see the extra effort he's having to put into even just the most simplest of shots.
20. $26. 27.
Yeah, nicely played. Ronnie identifying the key red, key problem.
34.
Get onto that ball as soon as possible. And then usually his
35.
excellent cue ball control does the rest. Still a bit of work to do yet.
$42. 43.
Nicely played, little cannon there.
50. 51.
Really glad we've got a little bit of table time. Try and get a little bit of rhythm, a little bit of confidence.
56.
It just has to take one frame at a time. Treat every frame as a
57.
match, rather than thinking about the real frame score and the real match score.
Yeah, Keyran won't be worried just yet, but the fact that Ronnie has eventually taken this chance
64.
in one visit will just keep him
65.
thinking. He knows, of course, of this special ability that Ronnie O'Sullivan has. He doesn't want to keep
71.
gifting away chances. He's just got to mind his work to get over the line here.
72.
Theory 5 to
79.
up, he's 4 chances to win that frame. But again, there's no
80.
guarantee in each frame he would get a chance. So in the next frame, or certainly just after, he'd be quite keen to take that chance and put it to bed.
87.
Well, no century break
Ronnie
from
O'Sullivan,
Ronnie O'Sullivan, but could that possibly be the start to a miraculous comeback, or is it just a consolation frame for the Rocket? He still trails 5-2.
from 8. Karen Wilson to break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan re-entering this packed house arena for this semi-final match. First semi-final of the day. Keyran Wilson well and truly in the box seat. 5 frames to 2 to the good over Ronnie O'Sullivan. The missed long red from Keyran in the previous frame proved to be very costly. In missing the red, went through the pack of reds and opened them all up for Ronnie. Felt to begin with, it was a very anxious start to the contribution early on in that break, Ronnie O'Sullivan, but got the job done in the end with a break of 87.
Catching the green there, Keyran the opportunity to play telling safety. Green and brown is a nice target. And the fact that he didn't get it behind the green and brown is giving Ronnie that opportunity. Good length on the white, and also from playing that shot, see there, just brought the black into play a little bit more. What that has done is just given more importance to this little mini game of who gets the first opportunity. Excellent pot. It's Ronnie O'Sullivan gets the first chance. Has to be mindful of this black as well, though.
Yeah, and in potting that, he's away. Very good shot from Ronnie O'Sullivan, digging down.
Eight. Nine.
So straight away, looking to try and just open up this black spot as quickly as possible.
16.
Needed to play
17.
a little cannon there to play for the black for the same pocket. I think the cue ball's just about gone far enough for him to get to the central line of the white. Being just slightly right of centre here is the ideal place to be. And now in removing this red, he could be away.
24. 25.
Even for him, he's definitely picked up the pace the last frame or so. Extra couple of seconds quicker. Trying to establish a rhythm, but even for him, he can go a little bit too quick. Just wants to make sure he's still... Yeah, I was just going to say, just want to make sure he's still focused on each shot and take nothing for granted. That wasn't the case. And then also a little bit of dramatics after with his cue action just shows he's just not happy with his game. See there, felt obviously drag the cue out and cut across it. So important for Keyran here. He has his man to capitalise. Ronnie's playing bad now and struggling, but he might always be determined to try and make the most of the chance.
One.
And that shot that went wrong for Ronnie there, the type of shot that, as a player, you know, doesn't look much, but it's a proper feel shot. You're just trying to almost quit on it as you're going through to try and just control the pace and the spin down for the black. It was quite thin to middle. Clearly Ronnie not happy with how he's delivering the cue at the minute. The timing's not quite there, and that type of shot can really highlight that. Very easy to miss thin, which he did.
Yeah, the fact he didn't deliver the cue as quick as he wanted, that little bit of side didn't take.
4.
But loved an angle there on the black. Again, would love to be straight on this red. Ideally,
11.
play one of these reds, just get parallel with black, and from there he can play, and you can see this little gap there. Those two reds nearest the black, if you could catch both of them with one shot, could open up the frame totally. The way he's played that tells you that this red goes to the left corner. Didn't look likely at first glance. And that certainly makes it a better chance again.
Yeah, there you can see he's fine. So red to black here. There is a red
19.
right at that cluster of 5 that will pop to right corner. May not can play on it this time around. Deep screwing across the face of the reds for the red into the opposite corner pocket. He's made a good job of that, Keyran Wilson.
26.
It was a poor shot really from the previous red to leave himself straight on the black. But now he's looking for one good shot. Pot this red, get the angle.
$27.
Yeah, he's perfect now. He's got to play the cannon into that little quartet of reds.
Yeah, with that red to the left of the group, a little bit of insurance. One good shot here, set the frame and match up nicely for him. Yeah, you can just see
34.
to the right of that first red, if he hit full ball, or to the left, he would have been on the one to the left corner. This just makes this a little bit more difficult.
Not just the pot, but the cue in itself. Both elements of that shot were very tough for Keyran
34.
Wilson. All came from the fact he didn't get the desired cannon to the pack of reds from the black. That red was very missable. But he shouldn't have had to play it from there. He should have been nicer on the reds.
1.
Again, if Keyran doesn't take his opportunities, that's certainly going to give Ronnie a bit more encouragement.
And yes, it will take something very special from Ronnie to turn this one around, but he's definitely going to need help from his opponent. And in these last 2 frames, He has had a helping hand from Keyran. A couple of mistakes have just crept in.
3.
It's by no means panic stations just yet, but the longer that Ronnie's in this match, the worse it will get.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think a nice little touch there from Ronnie. I don't think he wanted the referee just to take the rest herself. I think he felt he'd taken it out. She did offer to put it back, but I think nice little touch there, I thought.
11. 12.
He's had his issues over the years with the referee, so it was nice to see.
Yeah, I think just in general, he has a lot of respect for everyone here in China. Spoke to the World Snooker Media team
19.
over the last few days and said that Xi'an would be the one city he would move to if he ever moved to China. Loves it, so he's obviously very comfortable here. It's been far from a comfortable
20.
performance so far today, though, from Ronnie. As I say, the longer he's in this match, he's got a chance, and this now a chance to close the gap even further. And you could almost hear the contact of that when it hit the yellow. It was a bit of a dull
92.
sound, which means he didn't strike the ball as he wanted to. But that's another good pot from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Mr. Brown, similar to this in the previous frame. Can he find one good pot here to get back down for the red?
Nicely played. See there, 25 ahead.
27. 28.
I certainly think if Ronnie could take it to 5-4, the pressure would be very much
35.
on Keyran then. As I said,
37.
just because you frames to play doesn't mean you necessarily get a chance in every frame to win it. And then, of course, the closer it goes, the closer Ronnie gets to him. When Keyran does get a chance, it's that little bit harder.
40.
The chance at 5-4 is harder than the chance you might have had at 5-1, 5-2. Still plenty to play left.
44.
Clearing these colours up with his left hand for no other reason than the fact that he just can. It's as simple as that.
49.
And the crowd absolutely loving this. They want to see Ronnie O'Sullivan make a comeback in this match. At 5-1, he looked down and out, but all of a sudden 5-3, and he's give Keyran Wilson something to think about. He's got every chance of making a comeback in this game now. He trails Keyran Wilson 5-3. At 5-1 down, it was looking inevitable that Ronnie O'Sullivan may be making an early exit in this semi-final, but 5-3, and all of a sudden, there's a glimmer of hope. He's required a little bit of help from his opponent to keep his hopes alive, Keyran Wilson. The odd mistake has just crept in the last couple of frames. Nothing to worry about, of course, for him. He's just there to do a job and try and get the job done as quickly as possible now. But the longer this match goes on, the odd negative thought or doubt may start to creep into Keyran Wilson's mind. No surprises taking himself out of the arena after that frame. Just trying to steady himself once again, trying to go again. Just reset, refocus the mind.
One.
Keyran didn't have to play the red. He went for it, just felt it was worth the risk if he potted beyond the black.
7.
When he missed it and hit the black, very thing you might have feared, giving Ronnie another good first opening, has happened. Unusual
14.
for Ronnie from that position not to play a better shot and get a better split in the pack. Something to come around the back of the black. Probably a little bit fortunate the pinks come into play. But again, a bit of work required to put another red.
$21.
So much to Keyran's delight, Ronnie O'Sullivan has broken down.
21.
I'll reiterate, 3 times in their career they've competed over the best of 11 frames, and each time it's been 6-5 either way. Keyran Wilson winning 2 of those, Ronnie just the 1. So it had all the makings of being a very close encounter, this. At one stage it looked like it was going to be over very quickly. So Ronnie just checking out these 2 reds. He's looking at the possibility of making a plant to right middle pocket, knowing he'll be on the pink. Oh, and he was very close. Just that far jaw. felt there was value in taking that on.
Excellent putt from keyran. Yeah, just having a little look at the blue. Just a little bit thin to pot it. And much more sensible just to play brown. And then from the next red, try and get perfect on the blue.
Doesn't it look a very inviting pack to attack from the blue as well? Almost all the reds across the table there. There's so much room for error going into that pack.
5.
He'll come round and just check it out, make sure there's no obvious plants. I can't see any.
Six.
And even if he hits the pack towards the left-hand side, you feel the black could also be used to stop the red. So one good shot. Sets another frame-winning chance up.
Again, I can't agree with the pace that he's gone into that pack at. Similar to the last frame, the split from the black
11.
was much too slow, and again, it always looked likely he may stick at that sort of pace.
Yeah, that is not unlucky. That's a poorly played shot. Again, the last blue, he couldn't have played it too hard, because even if he got a bit of backspin, as I said, the black was still going to stop. Wasn't it time to try and develop a couple? And again, just a little sign. Maybe not thinking as clearly or playing as confident as we think he is. But what's most important is also what Ronnie O'Sullivan is thinking of it. He'll see these little signs. This will just be giving a little bit of encouragement. Encouragement just to hang in. If he keeps hanging in, finds a little bit of form,
Karen Wilson,
that will lead to belief that he can win this match.
It was a strange one, because if the pink was on its spot above those reds, there's absolutely no way that Keyran Wilson goes into them at that pace. Just the fact that pink wasn't there, I can't understand why he felt that there was value in playing it the way he did. If the pink was there, he goes into it full pace, screw back, get the reds moving, get the reds away from the white. But anyway, that's all gone now. And Keyran Wilson straight away presented with another chance.
You could see Ronnie in the background just talking to himself. He'd be frustrated. He didn't want to give Keyran an easy starter, which he did. Get him up and running. Settle him down again. And he'll be in the chair fearing the worst. Still a lot to do. It's the kind of chance earlier on in the match he was winning the frame from. So we're just really judging him by his own standards.
Six. Seven. Twelve.
Barely anything in it, the frame, just the 2 points. So now the work begins for Keyran Wilson to put this frame and match to bed.
19.
Just minding his work here, Keyran. Another red on the pink spot. Then of the 5 remaining, one at the bottom, the left goes to the right
26.
corner. I still feel he's going to need a shot to develop the 4 reds and around the black.
$27.
Yeah, it didn't hit that well. You could see it didn't go into the centre of the pocket,
33.
and as a result, he's lost the white. And it looks like to be end of break.
Possibly a little bit of adrenaline in that one, paired with the fact that he potted the pink thin. And it is end of break, so big mistake from Keyran Wilson. Just starting to look good
33.
there.
Yeah, during that break wasn't quite possible for him to get on the pink, which was on the black spot, and disturb the pack when he had the freedom of having a red close to the right corner. Anxious look from Ronnie there, just waiting to see did he leave the red. The fact that Keyran's come down this end of the table, he can pot it. It's a thin clip. Shot he gets a very high percentage of. Good straight cueing. Pick your point and hit it.
Yeah, very good pot from Keyran Wilson. Cue ball not going in.
1.
So at least he's still in control of the frame now in removing that red. Fancied obviously getting on a colour, but doesn't need to push the boat out here. 24 points to the good. That's where his cue action helps him so much. You know, he's very long, very deliberate cue action. He can see exactly what's happening as he's coming through to the strike, and so often delivers that cue very straight.
Had the option there to play a snooker behind the green. Took an opportunity to try and get a little bit of extra insurance. And also, more importantly, that shot blocked the path to the red on the right-hand side of the table. But Ronnie's still very much engaged in this match. Keyran eyeing up this red. Again, doesn't have to get on a colour. Just pot it and get control. .24 points ahead. Still strong favourite in this frame. However, if he was to lose it, it goes 5-4, definitely be under pressure then. Ronnie knows that as well. But you can see by his reaction how engrossed and engaged Ronnie O'Sullivan still is in this match. And if anything, the last half hour's interest has got greater. He's sensing might be able to pull off a remarkable victory. Yeah, Keyran in trouble. Tapped the table, tapped his leg a couple of times. No, that was a good shot from Ronnie. Needs a good shot himself. Anxious look, but there was no need for that anxiety. Played it very well.
safety shot from Ronnie, slightly too thin. So possible chance for keyran to gain the advantage here. Could maybe try and chip the red thin over towards the red and black. Find the cue ball back to baulk. Just needs to be careful that he doesn't push the red over a corner pocket. I wonder if it passes the pink as well. Much too thick.
Wasn't easy. And also he knew the importance of it. You can see he was nicely on the black. Certainly hasn't left anything easy for keyran. Actually, he was able to play that red to the middle, and more importantly, he's fluked into the corner. A tremendous bit of luck.
Wow. Wow, you see flukes happen at any time during a match, but to happen at this stage of a match is incredible, ridiculous, outrageous. But can he take it? Can he use the luck to his advantage? Keyran Wilson with probably the fluke of the tournament for him, for sure. It certainly will be if he can convert this chance.
Yeah, because it would have been another ball missed, and you would have left Ronnie a chance of that red.
8.
Still going to need one of these last two reds.
They have a trace of angle on this red to middle pocket, can potentially play over for the blue and look for an angle to just drop in behind one of the reds. Well, he was going close to the blue, so decided to play it a bit firmer.
Yeah, going back to that fluked red, even if you look at the table there, it's hard to think he hit the bottom jaw, the middle pocket, avoided the other jaw, went all the way down. It's a tremendous fluke, you'd have to say. Yeah, didn't go as planned. You'd love to have an attempt at this pot somewhere, but take a second to regroup. 37 ahead, don't panic. Yeah, I think this is smart. Try and play the right shot. We've seen him play a few of these kind of shots, cutting the back into the middle, but surely a good, sensible safety has to be the order of the day.
Keyran Wilson, 13.
Yeah, just biding his time, Keyran Wilson would have loved to have covered this red from Ronnie O'Sullivan, force him to go at the red nearest the black. Because in leaving him access to that red meant that Ronnie could play a good telling safety shot, try and gain control of the table, and he has done. Oh, but that's a very good safety shot from Keyran Wilson, fantastically played.
went close to the pot. Fortunately for him, not close enough. Looked like I might just stay in the jaws. Again, Keyran coming down. Let's have a look to see how far that red is off the cushion. I don't think it's far enough off that he can cut it back. Another good safety shot, good contact. And Ronnie needs to be careful if he plays the red on the right. Doesn't push the one on the left close to the pocket. Needs a bit of cover. Yeah, you felt when you heard that little bit of applause, he had got the cover.
He's smiling because he knows he's played a bad shot there, Ronnie O'Sullivan, and the crowd think he's played a good one.
He's not that good. It's important, a little bit of luck. Ronnie knew by playing that shot he's going to give the initiative away to Keyran, but his priority was Keyran to come to the table and not be able to pot a ball. Apart from 37 ahead, having this advantage, Keyran here needs to capitalise and play one good telling safety. Again, looks like Ronnie can only hit the red below the black. Going to be pushing that towards the corner pocket. Just be careful. Doesn't go too close and leave it on. It's a very good contact. And because he got the perfect contact, the red didn't go close. And he got good length on the cue ball. But this is the kind of shot Keyran likes. I wouldn't be surprised if he totally commits to it. It's a risky shot, it's a difficult shot. He might just back himself to go one good pot, match is over.
Yeah, because even the safety shot is not straightforward. He's looking at the availability of getting the cue ball through the pink and black back to baulk. That's very dangerous. Now looking at possibly playing a dump shot, which would surely leave a shot at the red to left corner for Ronnie. So again, all these thoughts and options going through his head. Where's the value?
Usually Keyran, if he's this choice between a difficult safety and difficult pot, tends to go for the pot, but I think he is playing the dump shot. Has to be careful here.
Well, he's left a shot for Ronnie at this red. Just wonder if he can pot it, possibly develop the green as well. He's tried it, and he's got it. That's a fantastic shot from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Perfectly executed, but shouldn't have really had that option to play it. Keyran obviously felt he had no options. Left him attempt it, and he's knocked it in, and all of a sudden there's no insurance for Keyran Wilson.
And that's why, with that kind of decision, you tend to go for the pot, because you're always afraid. If you didn't go for the pot and you still leave it on. Much easier to accept if you had a go at it. Again, it was a brilliant shot and it set it up.
3.
Again, needs black to be able to win the frame, pink to tie.
Needs the cue ball to pull up. He needs it to stop, and it hasn't. It's continued to roll now. Ronnie O'Sullivan has to pot this black. Otherwise, he needs snookers. Looking at the pink to the middle pocket. If he pots it, he can only tie. Referee Peggy Lee just asking the crowd to settle down, all getting very excited. This is a very big shot. And what a pot that was from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yeah, actually, it was a nice touch
10.
as it went in. You could see Kieran tapping his knee. He knew what a great shot that was.
12.
He would prefer to see it stay out, but acknowledged it.
15.
All is not lost for Kieran Wilson just yet. The 4 remaining colours, of course, his hope that Ronnie breaks down, but a black ball respot
19.
is still the toss of a coin. But what a turnaround this could be.
24.
Because Kieran will know if Ronnie was to win this frame, even though we're 5-4 down, Ronnie actually be quite hard to stop.
30.
Well, this has been brilliant from Ronnie O'Sullivan. This clearance as good as you'll see. And in goes the black to force the respotted black. So Kieran Wilson had the decision to make there, play the safety shot or take the pot on. He chose the former. It didn't work out, and Ronnie O'Sullivan able to open the frame up and make a very good clearance. A couple of balls in that clearance there. Excellent. Kieran Wilson, plenty to think about, as referee Peggy Lee will ask either player to make a decision, heads or tails, as to who goes first.
Who wants to call? Head it is.
Kieran wins the toss and puts Ronnie O'Sullivan into bat first. So this, a very, very important passage of play.
A little bit closer to the puck than he would have liked. Yeah, Kieran straight away has realised the possibility of a cocked hat. He's going to play it off 3 cushions and into the middle. Has to be a little bit careful if it doesn't go off, if he had a bit of topspin on it. I think it's worth the risk.
Always the chance of the black running safe if you miss it, and by missing it top jaw, means it was heading towards the baulk area, although it's not gone deep enough into it. Ronnie could possibly play a shot to something here, chip this black into the yellow bag. Miss it thin if you're going to miss it.
Yeah, I'm surprised he played that one with his left hand. Generally, he's been playing his safety shots with his left hand and potting with his right, as you do. But I thought that was the time to play with his right, but needs to get this one right. He's played the dumb shot equivalent as well. Is he seduced by the double to the corner? Oh, correct shot. Again, just accepted. He couldn't get the white further down the table. Wasn't important. Just get the black ball safe.
Kieran Wilson has already been involved in a respotted black this week against Jimmy Robertson, and if you saw that, well, you'd have to see it to believe it. Jimmy Robertson played a safety shot, went very close to in off, ended up angling keyran in the jaws of the corner pocket. Keyran missed the black completely.
Yeah, tapping the toe from Ronnie. It's an excellent shot. Very easy to put that over corner pocket.
Oh, and Ronnie O'Sullivan, he holds his hand up because he's fluked the black, would you believe it? He smirks as he leaves the arena. This crowd has just erupted. Keyran Wilson cannot believe what he's seeing. From 5-1 up, it's now 5-4, and this game really is anyone's. Well, an incredible turn of events. This match all of a sudden is getting very, very interesting. A possible incredible comeback from Ronnie O'Sullivan there. And this match is still well and truly in the balance. Myself and Fergal can't work out whether Ronnie went for that black or not. We're somewhat in the corner of he maybe half-heartedly did go for that double just the way he played it. Maybe he felt inclined to hold his hand up and apologise, but what a frame.
Yeah, left-handed back double to the corner to stay in the whole tournament.
The crowd absolutely loving this. This arena has become electric. You can feel the energy in there and the players, the adrenaline, everything that's going on. This has now become very, very interesting.
Yeah, nice applause for Keyran as well. And again,
Frame 10, Keyran Wilson to break.
I presume that was to get the crowd to calm down. It's only going to get noisier. But yeah, brilliant to have this 10th frame and maybe 11th to look forward to. Because we did out of sorts Ronnie O'Sullivan against a dominant world champion. Whatever about the first two frames of the comeback, but certainly that frame was a remarkable frame to win. Keyran has had chances. Then Ronnie managed to dig it out somehow. A great break to force the respot, particularly the pink do or die pot. He got into the middle pocket. Sportingly acknowledged by Keyran. But the whole dynamics has changed. Ronnie's playing better. Keyran's playing a little bit worse. And Keyran's under a bit more pressure than he was. We said it at the time, but the chance at 5-1 is always a lot easier than the chance at 5-4.
And these sorts of scenarios, this sort of atmosphere that has been created in this arena, that man thrives off. The more riled up they get, the more intense this match becomes. You feel Ronnie O'Sullivan will just continue to grow in confidence, grow in strength.
Keyran coming down to see as he irons up this pot. He's coming down to see the black.
One.
Well, when he came down to see the black go, seeing how difficult it was, and that's a fantastic piece of cueing. The camera angle shows, I don't think the black goes, but also that red at the bottom. The black doesn't go either.
Brilliant opening red from Keyran Wilson. Not necessarily a player you associate with immense cue power, but a player you certainly associate with one of the straightest cue actions in the game, and that was definitely required there for that shot. Struck it perfectly.
Thank you, Karen. 7. Eight.
Slightly anxious look there. Not sure if you can
10.
drop the red in for the blue. And that up and down, but ideally you'd like an angle on that blue.
$11.
Wants to stay high. A little bit of an angle. Probably have to play 2 cushions, top left-hand side. Ideally cannon where the pink is.
Looks good. Now how's his luck?
That's
Very
a
good
great
shot. Brilliant shot from Keyran Wilson. Had to get plenty of cue speed
16.
through this one. Top left-hand side, as Fergal said, just to widen the cue ball. Struck it well, and then you're relying on a little bit of luck for the Reds to open nicely. He's pushed a few into play so he can continue this break. All of a sudden, Keyran has to dig deep here and find that extra bit of intensity to see him over the line in this match. From 5-1 up
70.
and in cruise control, all of a sudden, if he doesn't win this frame, this match could be anyone's. Has to get the job done here.
I think he's just looking at the possibility of playing this pink. Going into the side of the pack, really. Maybe he wants to go hard into them, get them all open. Yeah, he did. It's a brave shot. And he's got his reward. That was well thought out of. Because even before he played the red, he did check to see where exactly he wanted the white to be on the pink.
23.
So he felt he had the best angle to pot it and develop the reds.
$24.
He has had chances to win the match before, but this is by far the best chance.
And again, struck that red nicely to the green pocket. Still going in the middle, which is a good sign.
$29.
Nicely controlled positional shot. Checking the cue ball up off the top cushion.
30.
Perfect. So he's happy to leave the black out of play for now. That red and black will be of no concern to him. He's got the balls where he wants them. There's enough here to do enough damage. All about just minding your work, holding yourself together, standing up.
$36. $37.
Despite what went on the last few frames, you just get the sense he's going to put it to bed here. Pink's available. The red's open.
42. $43. Yeah. 48.
And he's just come down just to check where he'd like to be in the pink. The red that's directly below the pink. It's possible to left corner if he could land in a position. He'd be able to try and gamble on that. The other red to the right available.
49.
Looks like it's a slight angle. Can maybe drop it in or maybe even glance off the couple of reds and still be on the red to the right corner. A couple of times during this break, Keyran's had to have the white ball in absolutely
55.
exact spot, and he's done it.
So edging closer to that winning line. These the hardest balls to pot. Keyran Wilson already a great champion. He's our world champion.
56.
And this has been a very good visit to the table. He's attacked when required. And now he's just a few balls away.
$61. $62.
Credit to Keyran. He's been put under pressure. But he reacted the way a world champion should. Great break.
68.
It's not been Ronnie O'Sullivan's day at the office today. It's been a bad one. Kept his
69.
hopes alive and kept the excitement alive here in the arena with a mini comeback, but just left himself with too much to do. To go 5-1 down in a race to 6 against the world champion, it always seemed a very tall order. But he's fought commendably, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Hasn't just thrown the towel in. Another good week,
75.
semi-final of a big ranking event, and he'll be there
76.
or thereabouts next week in Saudi Arabia. But today is all about this man, Keyran Wilson, the world champion. And as all good champions do, looking to finish this match with a century break.
83.
Which will be his first of the match.
84.
In some ways, he might even get more pleasure from winning this 6-4 after being severely tested. Ronnie coming back, crowd getting involved. Ronnie, we think, fluking that black to win. But when the questions
91.
were asked, he had the answers. He'll take some
92.
beating tomorrow, that's for sure.
Yeah, of course, Judd Trump taking on Daniel Wells in the
97.
other semi-final
99.
to take on this man. This green for the ton.
102.
A brilliant performance from our world champion, Keyran Wilson. Stood up when he's required to, as all good champions do. And he books himself into his 15th ranking final tomorrow, where he'll take on the winner of Judd Trump or Daniel Wells. Wasn't to be for Ronnie O'Sullivan today, but he'll be back, of course. 2 back-to-back semi-finals in Shanghai and here. Sets him up nicely for the rest of the season. But today is all about Keyran Wilson, 32 years of age, world rank number 3, world champion, the number 1 seed here in Xi'an. Books his place into tomorrow's final, and a best of 19 final for him to look forward to.